Welcome to the Math 0420 Exam 2 review video. I'm going to go through each of these examples that are on your review in detail, and you will have the solutions, and that way you can see where you've messed up if you have messed up and see where you're getting things right if you are. So number 1 says to determine whether the given equations are linear or nonlinear. So when we're looking at linear equations, we want to look for the variables and the powers on the variable. For a linear equation, the power on the variable needs to be 1, and it needs to be in the numerator. So for part A, we have 10x plus 3y equal to 4. Both x and y have an exponent of 1, and we don't have any other exponents on a variable, so this is a linear equation. 5 over x plus 2 equals 11y. Now notice that the power on both variables, x and y, is 1. But also notice the x is in the denominator. Because the x is in the denominator, that makes this equation non-linear. Part C, we have 3x plus 5x squared equals 16. The power on x in the first term is 1. That would be fine for it to be linear. But because we have an x squared on the second term, that makes this another type of equation, which is nonlinear. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2, we want to solve the equation and then check our proposed solutions. We have x plus 1/8 equals negative 1/2. Now, I don't want to deal with the fractions in this equation. I have a 1/8 and a negative 1/2. So I can find their LCD, which is the least common denominator between 2 and 8. And so that's the least common multiple of those things. And so that's going to be 8. I can change both sides of this equation by multiplying both sides by 8. So I'll do that. I'll do times 8 and times 8. On the left-hand side, we'll distribute the 8 to the x and get 8x. Rewrite that. 8x. And then 8 times 1/8 is just plus 1 equals negative 1/2 times 8, that's negative 8 over 2, or negative 4. Then we can subtract 1 from both sides, and we get 8x is equal to negative 5. Divide both sides by 8. X equals negative 5/8. And that is our solution. Now we need to go back and check in the original equation. So we'll plug in negative 5/8 for x plus 1/8. Well, that's equal to negative 4 over 8, which is equal to negative 1/2 as we had in our original equation. So x equals negative 5/8 is the solution. Question 3 is very similar to question 2. We want to solve the equation and check our proposed solutions. We have x plus 2 over 4 minus 2/3 is equal to x minus 3 over 6. So again, we want to find the least common denominator of 4, 3, and 6. So 3 has 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, so on. 4 is 4, 8, 12, 16, and so on. And 6 is 6, 12, 18, and so on. The first one we have in common is 12. So what we can do is multiply both sides of our equation by 12. And when we distribute to the first term here, we will get 12 divided by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and we'll keep our x plus 2. 12 divided by 3 is 4 times negative 2 gives us negative 8. And then 12 divided by 6 is 2, and we're left with x minus 3. Okay, now we can distribute our 3. So we get 3 times x, and 3 times 2, which is plus 6, minus 8, is equal to 2 times x, which is 2x, and 2 times negative 3, which is negative 6. We can then simplify our left-hand side to be 3x plus 6 minus 8. So 3x minus 2 is equal to 2x minus 6. Both sides. And that gives us 3x is equal to 2x minus 4. We can subtract 2x from both sides. And then we are left with x equals negative 4. Okay, and since we're supposed to check our proposed solution, we can plug in negative 4 back into our original equation. So negative 4 plus 2 over 4 minus 2/3, and we'll go ahead and simplify that. That's negative 2/4 minus 2/3. Okay, which gives us, we need to convert those to 12ths, so negative 6/12 minus 8/12, which is negative 14 over 12. And then we need to plug it into the right-hand side, and we get negative 4 minus 3 over 6, which is negative 7 over 6. And if we were to reduce the negative 14 over 12, that's negative 7 over 6. So since both sides are equal, x equals negative 4 is our solution. Number 4, solve the equation and then check your proposed solutions. We have 2x minus 9x plus 50 equals 15 plus 3x plus 25. We first want to simplify the left and right-hand sides. 2x minus 9x will give us a negative 7x plus 50. And our right-hand side simplifies to 3x. 15 plus 25 is plus 40. Okay, then we can subtract 40 from both sides. And that will leave us with negative 7x plus 10 equals 3x. Then we can add 7x to both sides. And we get 10 is equal to 10x. Divide both sides by 10. And we get that x is equal to 10 over 10, which is 1. So we'll plug that back into our equation. 2 times 1 minus 9 times 1 plus 50. So that is 2 minus 9 plus 50. 2 minus 9 is negative 7 plus 50. So that's equal to 43. And we'll do the same thing with the other side. 15 plus 3 times 1 plus 25. We already know that 15 plus 25 is 40, and 3 times 1 is 3. So 40 plus 3 is 43. So x equals 1 is our solution, since both sides were equal. For number 5, you'll have a vocabulary section of your test, and you'll want to write the word or phrase that best fits each of the following sentences that you get on the test. And the word bank that you'll get is inconsistent, factor, solution, product, undefined, identity, prime, equation, composite, natural numbers, expression, divisor, equivalent, and whole numbers. Go back into your notes and get the notes from Blackboard and find what the definitions of each of those terms is so you can use it when you do the test. You won't actually be able to use it on the test, but you need to know those definitions of each of those words. Number 6, the cost, C, of an item, the price paid by a retailer, plus the markup, M, on that item, which is the retailer's profit, is equal to the selling price, S, of the item. The formula for that is C plus M is equal to S. The selling price of a computer is $2,024. If the markup on the computer is $273, we want to find the cost to the retailer for the computer. So remember that C plus M is equal to S, and we're wanting to find the cost, C. So we plug in M, the markup, which we know is 273, and S, which is 2024. The way we find cost is to subtract 273 from both sides. And we find that our cost is equal to 2024 minus 273, which is $1,751. So that would be the cost of the item. Number 7, in a certain state, speeding fines are determined by the formula F equals 5 times the quantity X minus 55 plus 55, where F is the cost in dollars of the fine if a person is caught driving X miles per hour. We want to use this formula to determine how fast a person was speeding if the fine comes to $187. So again, another word problem. Be sure to read through it carefully. We know that our fine is $187. Remember, F is our cost. So we can start with F and set that equal to $187 equals the right-hand side of our equation, 5 times the quantity X minus 55 plus 55. Okay? And then we can start solving. We can subtract 55 from both sides. And we get 187 minus 55. 187 minus 55 is 132, is equal to 5 times the quantity X minus 55. Now you may choose to distribute first, and that's perfectly fine because the way we're doing it now is going to cause us to have multiple subtraction and addition steps. Now we can distribute the 5 and the X, and we get 132 equals 5X, and 5 times negative 55 is negative 275. And then we can add 275 to both sides. 132 plus 255, which is 387, is equal to 5x. And then our final step to find the speed of the vehicle is to divide by 5. The 5s will cancel, and you'll have 387 divided by 5, which makes our speed 77.4 miles per hour. You could go back and check to make sure this works by plugging in 77.4 into your original equation, and you should do that to make sure you get it correct when you're doing the test. Number 8, we want to solve the equation and check our proposed solution. So we have 7x minus the quantity 3x plus 2 equal to 6. The first thing we want to do is look at this equation and see that we have the negative sign there in front of this entire quantity inside parentheses. So we'll want to distribute that negative. So I'll rewrite our equation. 7x minus 3x plus 2 equals 6. Distributing our negative, we get 7x minus 3x. Distribute to the 2, and we get negative 2 equals 6. Then we can combine like terms. 7x minus 3x is 4x minus 2 equals 6. Add 2 to both sides, and we get 4x minus 2 plus 2, so 4x equals 6 plus 2, which is 8. Divide both sides by 4. The 4's will cancel out, and we get x equals 8 over 4, which is 2. We can then plug back into our original equation. 7 times 2 minus 3 times, not in parentheses there, 3 times 2 plus 2. And so we'll get 14 minus, and we'll have 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 2. And we should do, like I said, the parentheses part first. We will eventually get to the 7 times 2, which is 14. 6 plus 2 is 8. 14 minus 8 gives us 6, just like we should have had. So x equals 2 is our solution. Number 9, the Mach number is a measurement of speed named after the man who suggested it, Ernst Mach. The formula shown below indicates the speed of an aircraft A in miles per hour divided by the speed of sound, which is approximately 740 miles per hour, which results in the Mach number m. Use the formula to determine the speed in miles per hour of the aircraft going Mach 3.79. So if we have our Mach number, 3.79, is equal to A, our airspeed, over 740. We can solve for A by multiplying both sides of our equation by 740. So 740 times 3.79 will give us that A is equal to 2,812.18 miles per hour. Number 10, we want to solve the formula for the specified variable. Our formula is x equals q plus abc, a times b times c, and we want to solve for b. So the first thing we want to do is undo the addition to get the q away from the abc. So we'll subtract q from both sides. And that gives us x minus q equals a times b times c. Then we can divide both sides by a times c to cancel the a and the c, and we're left with b equals x minus q over a times c, which is what we were trying to get to. And our last problem, which is labeled as number 13, says use the given information to write an equation. Then solve the equation and find the numbers. The left and right page numbers of an open book are two consecutive integers whose sum is 301. We want to find the page numbers. Now remember that what we want to do is to find consecutive integers. Consecutive integers are numbers that come one after another. We know that the first one we can let be x. So let's let x be the first number. Then consecutively, the next number must be the second page. And we know that their sum, which means when we add them together, is 301. So x plus 1 is equal to 301. On the left hand, we can simplify and combine like terms. We get 2x plus 1 equals 301. We can subtract 1 from both sides, and we get that 2x is equal to 301 minus 1, which is 300. Then we can divide both sides by 2. And we get that x is equal to 300 divided by 2, which is 150. So the first page is 150, and the second page, x plus 1, is 151. So the two consecutive integers whose sum is 301, left and right page numbers, 150 and 151. So those are all the topics that we had covered up until we discussed percentages and inequalities. Be sure that you understand the percent formula A equals P times B, where A is P percent of B. And also be able to solve inequalities, remembering the properties of inequalities and being able to solve those, being able to graph, and then using interval notation. Okay, so remember the addition property of inequality, the multiplication properties of inequality, the positive and negative version, and then interval notation. Good luck on your test.